us all the way through the end as we walk through real life stories of professionals in the industry and friends of mine that coming out here. Today we have with me Robert.
Yep.
Welcome, Robert. Nice to have you.
Thanks for having me.
So today, Robert, I wanted to kind of like talk about just the real side of life, what really goes on behind the scenes. People don't really know what it takes to get to where we get to, and a lot of people think that a lot of this is instantaneous. People don't have the reality of what actually happens. So, I want to get your take on how it all began, right? Back in high school, back in college, a long time ago. Let's talk about what you struggled with when you all started this.
Okay, so I'll give you a synopsis of where I started. So I grew up in a rural town of Mississippi. And everybody has the identity of Mississippi by being segregated. It is true, right? We had the people that looked like me on one side of town and the people that didn't look like me on another side of town. And also there was two different high schools. So we had like a public high school, and then we had an academy. So the people that looked like me went to the academy, but their parents that didn't look like me were teaching at the public school. They robbed a lot of people up. We never thought anything of it, but it started there. So me not having things that I wanted, it was always a driving factor for me, right? So I would see things on TV and just wonder one day what would it take to get to those things?
Right.
So I just gradually. I didn't really know anything. I was all ignorant to a lot of things because I didn't expose myself. I was just pretty much enjoying childhood. So I kind of followed in my brother's footsteps. I have multiple brothers, and a lot of them went to the military. So I joined the military because I just thought this was the thing to do, right? You join the military, try to prepare for college. I joined the military. I did my time there, and I just joined the reserve because that was just the thing to do at the time. I didn't join it full time, so I joined the reserve. And after the reserves, I was actually still in college. I went to school. My school of choice, I wanted to go to the University of Michigan. That didn't happen. I just don't know if I got accepted or I didn't apply, but I did get accepted to Purdue University. But I ended up going to Toulouse College in Mississippi. Did that. That's why I had started my family there. So I was there.
So what did you pick when you
biology?
Biology.
I had this whole deal of I wanted to be a plastic surgeon.
Okay.
Right? And for some reason, I just started partying too hard. It didn't work out for me, right?
I mean, I had stages of that as well, where in high school I was a super nerd, so I had a lot of that already worked out, and took all my notes to college. And then when I got to college, my first 2 years, I literally was just partying. And it was crazy until at the time I got married in my second year, and that's when I refocused. At the end of my second year is when I got married, and I got refocused, and that's when I actually started studying. Like 2 years of not studying at all. I had terrible grades.
That's exactly what I went through because it kind of forced me to change my major.
Yeah.
Because I knew I wanted to finish school. That was just the whole purpose of going. Because no one in my family had finished. My mom went, so I never remember her finish. My brothers went. I had one brother. A couple brothers are twins. They're taller. He went on a basketball scholarship. And I had this big idea of my brother going pro, but he just didn't have the work ethic to stick with it.
Yeah. So, and that's kind of the same thing that happened with me. And it took a while to actually build that work ethic, and I've gone through a lot through life, so many different hardships, ups and downs, even going through a divorce. Now I'm single, everyone knows I'm single. But, just talking about that, I wanna get your take on how it's been through from that point on till now. What has that journey looked like? How has your career progressed? What does it take to become someone like you?
Okay, so for career-wise, right, it was in the back of my mind. I always had what I wanted to make. Like I want to make this much money to do these certain things, right? So you get a job, and the job does what it's supposed to do. It sells you you stay here, you get this career. Or because I used to be assistant manager at a drugstore, and they're like, well, we have this 2-year program. You go here, you're gonna make X amount of dollars. You get a percentage of what the store makes. At the time, you're talking about 200-300 grand. That sounds good, right?
Right.
And boom, the recession hits. We're not opening no more stores. My boss came in like, hey, you may want to venture out because they just saw potential. You may want to venture out, and I ended up getting into plastics, right? So I worked in plastics for like 11 years, manufacturing your standard kitchen trash bag for a lot of the big name retail stores. But a lot of people that don't know about manufacturing, you never think about how something is made.
Right.
You never think about how something is made until you actually be exposed to it.
Right. Right.
So getting into the plastic industry and just seeing how big it is, and a lot of people don't realize how much money is in manufacturing. Right? There's different levels of manufacturing. You have a managerial stage, you have a director stage, and then you have the executive branch, and you're talking about vice president. So you may go from 80,000 to 150,000, then all of a sudden you jump into $400,000 a year. That's a lot of money, and you're not thinking about the bonuses that come behind it,
Right.
and your profit sharing with your stocks and everything. Right?
Yeah.
But in the back of my mind, this is fine. You move up to these levels, but what if something happens?
Right.
You got to have a way out, or you have to make sure you're positioning yourself to take care of yourself if something happens.
Right. So you talked about manufacturing of plastics, and a lot of people don't realize how plastics are connected to everything. Plastics is essentially petroleum, right? And it's where everything comes from. Paint, paper, piping, especially some roofing materials are also made from plastics, right? People don't realize the importance of just making it through the education part of things and actually getting the skill set that's required to branch out into different things like you have done. You talk about having to go out and do different aspects of business as well, right? And so now you're a full-blown business guy, right?
Yeah.
And so, what is one direction? I like to call it a direction because these days people don't know what to do. What is one direction advice you give? Just say, get this to get this. What would you say connected you to where you are now? That was the one key that brought you from the beginning.
Well, just finding the people that have the same goals as you, right? It's cool to have friends, but all of your friends, they're friends, but they don't have the same ambition.
Yeah.
So it's about positioning yourself and getting around the right amount of people. Like I met you, when was it, last year?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We met at an event.
Yeah.
We didn't see anybody that looked like us, so we immediately gravitated to each other, and then we ended up kicking it off, and we do things together.
Right.
So I would just say that's it. Just get around the people that have the same drive as you.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to bring it all back, circle back to an additional goal that I have with Engineers World, the nonprofit, is that the goal is to let people know, don't quit.
Yeah.
Don't quit. Whatever you're doing, whatever you pick, whatever aspect you're in, everything is connected. You start from some way. You might start off doing one thing, but you will end up in a different area. But the point is, you gotta get your education. You gotta get all the way through bachelor's, at least a bachelor's, and if you can get a master's as well, that'll be great. The point that I'm giving today is, do not quit. And so with that, I want to add another segment, right? I want to try to talk about another point that is really going on in the community and society as a whole, which is, how a lot of people are saying men are no longer men, and women are no longer women the way it used to be as of old. And so, another reason I've been doing all this is to try to give direction to younger men coming up and say, hey man, you need to see yourself in us.
Yeah.
And you need to understand that you need to work through all these struggles to get to where you want to be in the future. So, as far as relationships goes, what relationship
Just go back to what I was saying. You have to put yourself around like-minded individuals. One of the greatest things somebody told me that was younger than me, they told me to know what you don't know, right? So you have to, and then once I learned, like, you see people like Oprah, right? She's a billionaire, but she never stops learning. She picks up a new skill. For instance, you remember, I don't know if you watched tennis with Serena Williams. She was hot. She was winning everything.
Right.
And she when got to the French Open. When she won, she gave her a speech in French, right? She taught herself how to speak French.
Right.
Just because
Yes.
it's just a drive to do better, to know
Yes.
more, to relate to more people.
Right.
You have to put yourself in that predicament. Otherwise, you're gonna fail. And it's cool being alone, but then being alone no way. I can make a bunch of money by myself, but if I can't share it with my friends, like, hey man, I got this going on. Do you guys want to get involved? That's what it keeps everybody happy, because then everybody else does certain thing, and then your circle eats, and then your circle gets bigger, and then you have that circle of trust where nobody has an ego, nobody's trying to get ahead. If somebody's doing better than the other person, it's fine, but we all still in the same realm.
Oh yeah.
So
Definitely. And with that, I'd like to wrap that up and call that lifelong learning. Do you agree? So yeah, definitely. So guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and follow us all the way through, and continue the strategy of lifelong